And now, let's continue the journey with your meditation. Allow yourselves to become very relaxed. Let go of anything that has to do with the physical mind's concerns of the day, or the life, or the journey. Just allow yourself to really begin to relax into the now moment. You may play your music, you may show your images, you may do whatever you wish to do as we guide you, as we walk hand in hand on this journey of us, on this journey of you, on this journey of all that is. Allow yourselves to breathe gently, easily, deeply, in a very relaxed way, opening up, softening your edges, melting into everything around you. That is an expression and a reflection of you as well, from a different point of view. Keep breathing, keep relaxing. Let in the sounds and the lights in a peaceful way, in a beautiful way, in ways that you perceive to be merging with your reality, but knowing it is a wholly new reality. Every moment, every moment, every moment. And open up to the nowness of the journey, letting your higher mind's communications of passion, letting synchronicity's indications of your path and opportunities, letting yourself and your experience of the idea you call physical reality to be delicious, to be savored, to be enjoyed, to be appreciated in every single moment that you experience, because all of those moments are you, and all of those moments are important, and all of those moments can be the stepping stones at this point on your journey that will lead you to the next one. But you don't have to know, and you don't have to worry about what that next step is. For this moment here, this moment now, is precious and unique and will never be experienced again. So appreciate it. Keep it. Have gratitude for it. Don't rush away from it. Don't ignore it. Don't suppress it. Don't be in a hurry to go anywhere else, because there is nowhere else more important to be, and there is nowhere else to be other than here and now. This moment, no matter how it presents itself, no matter how important it may seem, no matter how precious it may seem, no matter how it may represent your highest passion of excitement or peace, all of this, right here and right now, as powerful as it is, as beautiful as it is, as precious as it is, as relaxing as it is, as peaceful as it is but one step along the way. But right now, it is the only step. It is the only stepping stone that exists right now. Love it. Live in it as fully as possible. Savor it. Every single experience in it is there for a reason. It's an orchestration. It's a beautiful song. It's a harmonic at this moment. Let the chords vibrate through you, because they are you. They are a reflection of you, an expression of you, a step along the way. We say along the way to honor the idea that you're experiencing your reality in a format of continuity, in a space-time way, but nevertheless, all of that is here and now. Let yourself drift in it. Let yourself dream in it. Let yourself act in it. This moment and this moment only. This moment and this moment only. This moment and this moment only. Because again, no matter what it is and how it presents itself, it is only a step along the way of your journey, the journey that is you. Remember that you are not on a path, you are a path. You are a unique reflection of all that is, and that's what a path is. You are an experience of all that is of itself in this unique perspective. You are precious, you are needed, you are worthy of your existence. So be that existence in every moment. Be it as fully as you can be. Invite it all in. Allow it all in. Accept yourself fully. Even though you know you will always change, you will always refine yourself, your idea of who and what you are. Even though you know you will become a different perfect, you are perfect for what you are at this moment, because only what you are can lead to what you need to be next. If you are not allowing yourself to be what you are now, then you are actually removing your ability to be what you need to be next. It is important to have the full power of your now existence in order to allow that now to become a different reflection of now. Because remember, when we say a step along the way, the phrase along the way doesn't mean that you're actually leaving this space. It means that a new configuration of this same space is happening, is manifesting, is shifting, is changing. But it's all happening here. You're not actually walking onto another stepping stone that is next to the one you're on. You are shifting the stepping stone you're on into a different configuration of a stepping stone. So it's not that you are actually on a journey that removes you from this place. You are actually on a journey of changing this place into something different. But it's the same moment and it's the same place from a new point of view. And it's all happening, unfolding right here and right now. And that is what we mean by a step along the way, is that the way is always here. And the idea of different stepping stones doesn't mean they're really spread out in front of you or behind you. It means it's the same place, and that the stepping stone has become a different configuration of a stepping stone in the same place. That's the journey. You are traveling by staying in the same place, by changing what that place is in terms of your experience of it. You're not really moving. The idea of motion is happening through you. You don't move through space and time. Space and time move through you, shift through you, to create the illusion of different stepping stones, of different moments that are all the same moment, but from different points of view. So, anytime you remember us telling you that your journey and everything that's happening in it at any given moment is a step along the way, simultaneously recall that you're never actually moving through space and time, that you are shifting in the same place, and that therefore you're creating a different experience of the same place, and that is actually, mechanically speaking, what a journey is. Different experiences of yourself in the here and the now. That is what feels like a journey of movement to you through the continuity illusion of physical reality. But all the stepping stones are here and now, not behind or in front of you. Your desire to move to the next stepping stone doesn't remove you from the place you've been inhabiting forever, because all the stepping stones come to you in the here and the now. And that becomes the path of least resistance, because you're not actually expending an effort to go on a journey beyond this place. You are changing this place to become the journey. Breathe into that. Breathe easily and effortlessly into that understanding. And be as fully as possible here and now, and all of the stepping stones of your journey will appear. Continue to breathe. Continue to soften the idea of needing to step on a different stone somewhere else. Soften the idea of needing to move forward or connecting backward, and understand, truly understand, that you have access to everything here and now, and that you can decide at any given moment how to experience the new reality you are creating here and now, and what ideas from the so-called past and the so-called future can be part of the new here and now. But understand you are free to design the ingredients of whatever this here and now is that works for you. You are never stuck. You are never anchored to anything other than the here and now. So you get to decide what that here and now contains. Continue to breathe and love yourself and nurture yourself as nature, and be your natural self. It's all you can really be, truly be, is the natural self you are. So relax into whatever you are creating and know that it is there for a reason, and use it to your advantage, because you can. Allow yourself to continue to relax. And whatever here and now you decide to create, we won't say, come back to it, because you are creating it anew. But you can create it anew now and wake up into it slowly, in a relaxed way, with more insight, more clarity, more transparency, and more awareness of the energy you have at your disposal to act on your passion. And live more fully the dream that is physical reality. Become more lucid in this dream, more aware of what it is, and that it is always just a reflection of what you consider yourself to be. Breathe and awaken into this new reality now with us. New hand, in a new journey of the here and now that is full of our unconditional support and our unconditional love for you all and all that is. Welcome home, welcome home, welcome home. Good day and pleasant dreams.
Let's see. Do physically incarnated beings have free will and creative power, or is that just an illusion?
Of course you have free will. Now, you have made a free will choice also from another level, a spirit level, about exactly what kind of theme you will be exploring. And the theme is generally the person that you are. The challenges that come up are representative of the theme that the personality you've created yourself to be needs to explore. So that theme can seem like destiny because you can't necessarily change that until you finish that theme, but you have free will within that destiny, within that theme. As we have often used the analogy of a hallway, saying that from a spirit level, a higher level, you have chosen a particular hallway that you will walk down. That's your theme. That's your path. That's who you are. Being who you are in this life experience is the theme, is the destiny. But how you are who you are is up to your free will. Again, going back to the hallway analogy, you will walk down the hallway. That's your destiny. You made that choice from the free will of a higher level. But within the hallway, you are completely free to decide how you will walk down the hall. You can walk, you can run, you can fly, you can crawl, you can be happy, you can be sad, you can look in every doorway along the way, you can ignore them all, you can go upside down, backwards, inside out, whatever way you wish to do it. That's your free will exploring the theme you set up for yourself. So your physical life is a combination of a so-called theme or destiny and free will in terms of how you explore it.
And so I know I have a question about this. So when we experience going down our hallway, and you've brought up the idea of surrendering to your flow, what
Yes.
exactly are you describing that we're surrendering to?
You are surrendering to the vibrational state of the theme itself. In other words, you're in total acceptance of who you are as the theme.
So when you make the choice to surrender to the way your life is unfolding and to
Yes.
trust that it's unfolding in a beneficial way to you, even if it's not exactly what you prefer.
Yes. So this is where the free will and the destiny merge. In other words, you are presented with certain things in that hallway, because that's the definition of that hallway. That's the definition of the challenges that expose the theme, reveal the theme. But the idea is that you still get to decide how you will engage with that. So the surrendering to it and the acceptance of your true self is the idea of engaging with the theme in a positive and constructive way. Again, this is the fourth part of the formula. Choose to remain in a positive state because you understand that no matter what happens, even if you recognize it neutrally as something you don't prefer, still it's got to be there for a reason. It's got to be part of the exploration of your theme. And if you engage that exploration of something you don't prefer from a positive point of view, from a positive state of being, you'll be able to go with a flow of using it and getting a benefit from it in a way that will serve you, because you know it's got to be there for a reason that could serve you, if only you will stay in the positive state that will allow you to experience how it could be used to a positive effect in your life. Because again, remember, it comes down to not mattering really what it is that happens, but mattering what you do with what happens. So staying in a positive state will allow you to get a benefit out of what happens, even if you don't prefer it. Whereas going into a negative state will only allow you to feel blocked by what happened instead of being more capable of using it to your advantage. Because remember, even on the simplest level, experiencing something you don't prefer, if you stay in a positive state, will allow you to recognize, if nothing else, that you've been given an opportunity to see what you don't prefer so that you can understand what you do prefer more clearly by contrast. And that's a positive way to use what you don't prefer. And when you use it up, when you learn the lesson of why it's there from a positive point of view, most likely it will fade away because it has now served its purpose and you can continue to move forward. Whereas if you give it a negative meaning, this doesn't belong in my life, this is not what I wanted, something is wrong, then all you're doing is creating a vibration that sticks you firmly right there in that position in the hallway until you get the point of why it happened to begin with and what you can learn from it and how it can benefit you by being there.
So even if you experience some form of loss, if you have the basic understanding that everything happens for a positive reason, and you
Everything
allow your
can be used
in a positive
way. I just said it's there for a reason.
Right.
It's up to you to determine what that reason is.
And then that allows you to stay in touch with your own flow and
Yes.
see how that can be a beneficial experience, even if you didn't enjoy having it initially.
Well, again, it's not about not enjoying it. It's about recognizing that it can be used to your benefit. And if you recognize that more quickly and more quickly and more quickly, then you simply come from a neutral, balanced state, and you can actually then start to enjoy anything that happens, even if it's what you don't prefer, because you will know you can use it in a way that you would enjoy to.
And it really can show you that something better can happen. Like it will
Yes.
bring up things like that. Like,
Yes.
oh, well, this was going to be the best thing that, and actually, by trusting that if negative synchronicity is serving you,
Yes.
by not allowing you to have a certain experience that you thought you wanted,
Correct.
then
It's guiding you through the idea of not only giving you opportunities you can act on, but guiding you by preventing you from being able to act on certain things that is simply not your path right now.
and then your trust in the unfoldment of your life and how your flow goes
Yes.
will make all the difference in the world as you're
Yes.
experiencing these lessons. So
And as you become used to this and it becomes your first nature, then it even goes beyond the idea of trust. You simply understand and know how things work. Then it's not a matter even of having to have trust in it. You simply understand that that's the way it works.
Okay, and then let's see if there's one last one to ask.
Yes.
You often say that don't invalidate what you don't prefer.
Yes, because that sticks you to it.
So when you
In other
say,
words, you're giving it energy. You're feeding it by invalidating it, because invalidation is a negative energy, and therefore it compounds the negative energy of what you don't prefer.
so when you say the word invalidate, can you express what invalidation is? Like,
Well, in a sense, it's what we just talked about. It's sort of another way of saying, this does not belong here. This has no value to me. So invalidation is discounting the value, discounting what's happening in your life as if it didn't belong. And therefore, all you're doing is reinforcing your inability to use it in a way that positively serves you.
so, and I guess
It's
lastly,
like saying, I see a series of stepping stones ahead of me,
Mhm.
but one of them is a color I don't like. I don't prefer it. So I'm going to invalidate it. I'm going to say that stone has absolutely no value whatsoever. It does not belong on the path. So get rid of it. Now you have no way to step from that stone to the next one. You have literally caused yourself to invalidate your path, to remove the ability to step forward by discounting the reason that that stone, that different stone, is there, instead of using it to your advantage, saying, well, that stone is different because there must be something different I need to look at here. There must be something different I need to learn here that would actually help me then go on to the next stone. But if I invalidate it and remove it from the path, then there's too big of a gap for me to cross. There's no stone for me to step from to the next stone beyond.
And so coming back to the monologue in the beginning, essentially what you're explaining to us is how to stay in the moment
Yes.
and appreciate whatever is being generated in that moment,
Yes.
and how to be in the state where you're not invalidating what is happening.
Yes, because then you cannot use it to move forward if you invalidate it. If you say it's worthless, it has no value, it doesn't belong here, how can you use it to keep moving? You can't.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You are also welcome.
Yeah, we really appreciate all your sharing, all the information that you give us, and giving us this boost to be able to shift to a new paradigm where we can experience physical reality in a much more positive way.
Yes, well, it is our passion and our pleasure to do so. And of course, the choice is completely up to you. So we thank you for that, our unconditional love to you all. And as another expression of our unconditional love and support, please now allow yourselves, if you wish, to enjoy the following meditation.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a set of questions around the nature of dreaming.
Yeah.
You've discussed before, that we are actually spirit dreaming, and that your reality, the way you experience reality, is being awake kind of within the dream.
Yes.
What does it mean to actually wake up from the dream? What is true reality?
To die, to go into spirit fully, not experience the idea directly of what you call physical reality.
Okay, so where's the line where the dream starts and the true reality begins? It's really just the physicality?
It's just the frequency that you're operating at. 333 cycles per second, 333,000 cycles per second is the vibrational borderline between non-physical and physical reality. So when you simply alter a pattern of energy within your consciousness in a certain way from spirit, then you direct a portion or a focus of your consciousness in a way that experiences a dream called physical reality. So you have to go in that particular portion of your consciousness lower than 333,000 cycles per second.
So there's no such thing as still being in the dream as a non-physical?
Well, yes, in a sense, because every level within all that is another type of dream. But we simply assume you were referring to the physical version.
No, I want to know, is there an actual waking up completely at some level of the all that is, or would that be going back into the one, which you said you can't really do?
Correct. So in a sense, it's always the one or the portion of the one that is capable of being aware of itself, and therefore it is always, in a sense, a type of a dream, but that's what reality is.
Okay.
Because it's all just happening within the idea of consciousness, of self-awareness.
I see. So maybe the dream itself is the idea that there's another, because that's
Correct.
not true.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
So yes, the dream is the one's idea that there is another. That's what creates self-awareness, is that the self is defined by the fact that there's something that appears to be other than self.
Okay.
That is the dream, because there is nothing other than self. But you can have the dream experience that there is.
Okay. And so the process of awakening, within that, there's always going to be the positive and the negative.
And
correct?
the center point.
And the center point.
And remember that the center point, being a point of balance, in a sense, tips the scale slightly toward the positive. Because in a point of balance, you still have the freedom to choose what you prefer, and that's a positive state of being.
Right. So is there always going to be consciousness inhabiting all of those frames, all of those options?
Well, it's existence itself, yes. So it can't cease to exist. Consciousness is simply the expression of existence being self-aware. Existence can't stop existing. That's its natural quality, is to be. And it can't go anywhere because there's nowhere for it to go, because by definition, non-existence doesn't exist. That's its quality, to not be. So that which is cannot become that which is not.
So just at a practical, in an example, let's say that I am a version of myself that is fighting with my father.
Yes.
And then I make a choice to mend things and make a more positive choice.
Yes.
Mending things with my father.
Yes.
Let's say there's another version of me that continues to fight with my father.
Yes, in a sense, but that's not where you're focused anymore. In terms of the journey that your particular reflection is experiencing. You've chosen a different set of frames in the film strip, even though the other film strip still exists.
and there's a consciousness inhabiting. There will always be some.
There will always be consciousness in everything because everything is consciousness.
I see.
Everything is made of consciousness.
So it's always going to be beneficial to all that is to have some consciousness in that negative experience. Quote unquote.
It is what it is. In that sense, it can't be anything else. It is what it is, and everything that it is what it needs to be. Because that's what it is. Otherwise, it would be something different.
Okay.
So needs all of it in order to be what it is. Just like you need all the puzzle pieces in order to form the whole picture. Without one piece, there's no whole picture.
And so let's say, so then I make that choice to go into these other set of frames that are more positive.
Which you are doing constantly anyway.
Right. So what happens to the consciousness that was just inhabiting that frame? Like, do I kick another consciousness out?
No. You have to sort of look at this from a multidimensional perspective. A shift of focus of a level of consciousness is happening on a certain level. The idea of the consciousness having the experience is on a different level. So you can, from a higher level of consciousness, shift your focus, but that doesn't change the fact that, by definition, a certain, let's just say, lower level of consciousness is simply constantly in that frame. You don't destroy the frame just because you've shifted your attention to another frame. Whatever's going on in that frame, whatever that frame represents, is still that frame and always will be. And that's a different level of experience and consciousness than the level that you're shifting your focus from. So just because you have looked at one frame and sort of contemplated what's going on in that frame, and then shifted your focus to another frame, you're shifting from a different level than what that frame represents as its own symbol of an experience. That never changes. It's made of consciousness, but that never changes what it is, because that's what it is that symbol, that expression of consciousness. But you, from another level, have the ability to take your focus off that frame and shift it to another frame. And shifting your attention to another frame changes nothing about the frame you were focused on before. It is what it is, as another level or expression of consciousness. But you have a level of consciousness that experiences the idea of flexibility, of shift, of change. That's a different level of consciousness you're coming from than the level of consciousness that is used to create the frame.
And so from that perspective, I know that reincarnation doesn't exist in that way, but why wouldn't my consciousness then focus as another person?
Because when you're experiencing things from a certain framework of time, you need that sense of continuity to create the story of a before, a middle, and an after. That's just the way you perceive things from that level of experience.
I see. But eventually, like, I'm not perpetually forever experiencing myself as this identity. Eventually I'll move on, right?
Again, you create the idea of moving on, yes.
I don't want to be stuck forever as this person. All right.
You're not stuck anywhere at any time for any reason whatsoever. I would not necessarily encourage you to label the idea as being stuck. Otherwise, that's how you'll experience it.
Okay. Well, yeah, because billions of times per second, I'm literally...
Exactly. You're always changing. The very idea of the experience that you call change happens because you're constantly shifting your focus. Otherwise, you wouldn't experience any change at all. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Good day.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Thank you very much for your passion, and to all your team. I'm very grateful to have this opportunity.
All right. Our deep appreciation to you as well.
Thank you. My question is on the balanced relationship between action and synchronicity. As example, I just left my job, but it took me longer than expected, and I was doubting because it happened by choice and not by synchronicity, as if I needed still a lesson to learn.
All right. First of all, it always happens by synchronicity because everything happens by synchronicity. So there's nothing that doesn't happen by synchronicity. It's just that you're not clear about the fact that there are two kinds of synchronicity. The first kind, most of you are familiar with. That's the one you normally talk about. The synchronicity of something being brought to you that's an opportunity to act on. But the other kind of synchronicity is the kind of synchronicity that actually prevents you from acting on things that are not appropriate for you to act on at that particular moment. And that's why it's always synchronicity. Because synchronicity is not only, just to use a simplistic analogy, is not only the gas pedal saying go ahead, it's also the brake saying no, you can't go this way right now. You need to stay where you are, or you need to look for some other avenue that is now something you are able to do, because you're not able to do this right now. So the balance between the idea of the synchronicity that says take this action and the synchronicity that says do not act in this direction is your guiding principle in life. And that's why synchronicity is also an organizing principle, because it's really keeping you on the straight and narrow by saying yes, no, no, yes, no, no, yes, no. It's really allowing you to move through a particular path that is you, by not only allowing you to move forward, but also preventing you to move forward in certain ways that are not appropriate. Does this help?
Yes, but so also my thoughts and because I could have done it like months before, but I didn't.
Why?
But there was not.
Why didn't you?
Because I thought it wasn't the right moment.
Then you are making your decisions, and you have to decide whether your decisions are being made for reasons that are in alignment with your truth or reasons that are out of alignment with your truth. And that's why it's so crucial to get in touch with your belief systems at any given moment, because it's always about the choices you make, but perhaps even more deeply, it's about why you make those choices. So you have to be in touch with your belief systems to understand the reason why you make the choices that you do. Nevertheless, the situation and the circumstance is still brought to you through some form of synchronicity.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
That's why, again, we reinforce and encourage the idea that part of the formula that we offer and encourage all of you to use is based on primarily you understanding what the beliefs are that you're holding on to as being true for you in every situation. So the synchronicity will always bring you a circumstance that is designed to reveal to you what you believe to be true, so you can decide whether or not you want to continue to hold on to that belief or let it go. That's the first thing the higher mind and synchronicity does in bringing you into the experience of a particular situation. Does it represent who you prefer to be? Are you willing to take the action that is representative of who you prefer to be? Or are you not willing to take that action, and why or why not? That's the key. Always you have to know the reason for the choices that you make, and then you will be clear and transparent within yourself about what it is you're choosing to do. Yes?
Okay. Yes.
All right.
And I have also about belief systems.
Yes.
When my self-esteem is particularly creative, I arrive to ask myself if it is my lack not being able to interact with a version of my spouse which is more conscious and less reactive in order to have a more harmonious relationship.
Well, again, the idea is for you to determine clearly within yourself what is and isn't representative of the vibrations in your life you prefer to interact with. So you have to, again, make those decisions about why you are experiencing what you're experiencing, not that it's a one-to-one reflection, but the idea of why you might be willing to continue on something that isn't vibrationally compatible with you. because you are hoping that somebody else will change?
Yeah, no, I understand it. I think my struggle is that I feel
Your challenge. Your challenge. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't make it a struggle right from the get-go.
Yes.
It's just a challenge. It's something for you to know more about who you really are. So what is your challenge?
To divide my soul from my 3D experience.
Divide your soul?
Yeah, in the sense that I feel a deep, profound love for him.
Yes.
The physical experience,
yes,
is not harmonious. So I find it difficult to accept that I can't reflect this love in my physical experience.
All right, so you are being insistent on the conditions as a measure of whether or not you are who you prefer to be. That's insistence. And I told you that the third part of the formula is you can't assume or insist on anything. You can't put conditions on the idea of your passion. And if you truly love someone, you will then be honest with them in who you actually are in the relationship. And sometimes you have to really understand how important it is to show them the consequences of who you are. So sometimes a demonstration of your love may actually be leaving the relationship to show them that it's not the vibration you prefer. It's not the reflection you prefer. Then you're giving them an opportunity to decide for themselves whether or not they want to maintain that relationship and match your vibration, or whether they wish to continue their vibration and find whatever relationship actually works for them while you go and find the relationship that works for you. That's the most loving thing to do. Love doesn't insist that the other person may change to give you the reflection you think you should be getting from them. That's insistence and placing conditions on them, and that's not love. Does that help?
Yes. Yeah.
So watch what you're defining as love. Because if you really love someone, you will let them be who they truly prefer to be. You can always give them the choice, the opportunity to match your frequency in a way that you prefer. But remember, even if they do choose to match your frequency, it's not the same person anymore anyway. So what do you care that it doesn't really look like the same person? Don't go by surface appearance. If they decided to change and become more compatible with your vibration, it wouldn't be the same person anyway, no matter how you think they look on the surface. So don't insist that it has to be the same person that gives you the reflection in life that you prefer, because it never would be the same person no matter how they look anyhow. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
All right. Does that help you?
Yes.
All right.
So like what would first and second density look like?
That may be challenging to describe. Now, you have a kind of analogous representation to some degree in a story on your planet called Flatland, where the beings are less than three-dimensional, so to speak, where they don't understand the concept of height or depth, where the density is very, very low, vibrationally speaking, and they cannot necessarily imagine the idea of an up or a down. They can only imagine the idea of a forward, a back, a left, and a right. So they're very compressed into a very specific kind of densified focus of their existence of reality, their experience of reality. And it's sort of similar to the idea of how many people in your reality, in the third dimension, the fourth dimension, so to speak, can't necessarily understand the perspective of a fifth dimensional spirit being who can move through walls, see through walls, and all those sorts of things because of their particular perspective. So it's sort of a similar analogy to what you're not capable of perceiving, because you can't necessarily right now completely stretch your senses beyond the realm of fourth density as a physical being. Although to some degree, you can exhibit some of that. And to some degree, a lower density being can imagine certain things that would be considered a philosophical point of view, but they're not really experiencing those things directly as they would if they were actually projecting their consciousness into a higher dimension. Did that make sense?
To some degree, as much as my mind can stretch to understand.
Yes. You can have just as much of a challenge imagining lower densities as you can imagining higher ones.
Is there a single clock for the whole universe, much like we have atomic clocks on Earth?
Well, if you're talking about the physical universe, then yes, it's what your scientists refer to as the Planck scale, Planck time. Because again, we have said that this is the actual tick of the clock of physical reality. This is what determines how many billions of times per second you are actually shifting. It's 10 to the 43rd. That's how many ticks of the clock there are in every second. 10 to the power of 43. That's the Planck scale. That's Planck time. That's the tick of the clock of the physical universe.
Fascinating. Let's see. What's the difference between the higher mind, the soul, and spirit guides?
All right. The soul, as we have said, is kind of like an overarching identity. And if it decides or chooses to have what you would call a physical experience, a portion of the soul, the non-physical portion, remains as the higher mind, and another portion is focused into what you experience as the physical mind. The physical mind has the physical experience, which feeds back into the higher mind and into the soul that gathers that information and that energy and creates a more, shall we say, specific version of itself called spirit, because a spirit is specifically connected to a particular personal identity's physical experience. But that feeds back into the greater soul, who then contains that experience of that physical reality experience of the physical mind, having generated a kind of spirit representation of that experience in physical reality. So a soul, as we have often said poetically, is like unfired clay, and the spirit is like the ceramic that has been fired based on a specific physical experience. Spirit guides are those that simply are in spirit and remain in spirit while you have a physical experience, and are there to help guide you along with the higher mind. So your higher mind is kind of like your personal spirit guide, but it's a portion of your own soul, whereas spirit guides are expressions of perhaps a different identity, a different individual who simply isn't, in your experience, incarnate at that moment, and who is willing to help you along with your higher mind, guide you in physical life. Is that explaining it clearly enough?
Yes, that's fascinating. When we see others, as you've explained, our reality is a reflective reality.
Yes.
And so how do we interpret another person's expressions and their behavior? Because we're actually seeing a reflection of our own consciousness.
Yes, but you're picking up on the vibrations that they're giving off, and you are translating them as best as you possibly can, or at least in the most relevant way, according to your own belief systems, about what you need to represent them by. So you're creating a simulation of them, picking up on their vibrational energy and creating a version of them that meets your particular filters or needs or belief systems about exactly how you need to see them and how you need to interact with them in the mutually agreed upon third reality that you are creating together.
So in order not to take responsibility for another person's negative behavior,
yes,
while at the same time realizing that you are receiving a reflective experience.
Yes, but again, as we have said, it's not always a one-to-one reflection. There can be a variety of different degrees of reflection based on what it is you need to understand out of the relationship and experience, and what they need to understand out of the relationship and the experience. So it's not just a one-to-one reflection philosophically speaking.
So the idea of going into a belief system where, oh, well, this is happening and that's happening, so it must mean that I'm this or that, it doesn't really serve you to interpret what you're experiencing that way.
Well, we're
Is that
not saying you
correct?
can't interpret it, but what we're saying is you have to be very clear about what the interpretation is, because you can misinterpret it based on your belief systems.
Right.
So
Because
the
that's
clearer
where,
you are, the clearer the interpretation will be about what it is that you need to get out of it, what it is they need to get out of it, and what you are responsible to them for without being responsible for them.
so there, it's a fine line between letting your negative beliefs come in a sense, undermine your self-esteem by taking responsibility for another person's negative behavior.
Yes.
And at the same time, it gives you an opportunity to look within and see whether or not you are exhibiting similar behaviors.
Correct. So you have to be very clear in your discernment about exactly to what degree the reflection is germane and relevant for you and to what degree it isn't.